right. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening everywhere. Welcome to our presentation, Advancing Digitalization in the Geospatial Industry. So we talk today about the integration of cloud services, mainly in construction projects, everything focused to the persona of surveyors in the first instance. My name is Alexander Fischer. I'm working already since 2010 for Hexagon Geosystems in various business lines, different roles. Now for a little bit more than 2 years, I'm working as a director of cloud services. And of course, I oversee there the creation, the implementation of various cloud services, cloud ecosystems in order to really have an integrated data flow. In addition, we also work, of course, on a couple of other things. So there is a lot of news coming up in the next months. Well, I'm very lucky today. I'm doing not the presentation on my own. So we have a combined presentation today with Joel Gregory. Joel is the CEO. He's the co-founder of 12D Synergy. And I think we have here pretty much a good match. He's a leading provider of construction technology solutions. He has a passion for driving digital transformation in the AEC industry. And same as I do, Joel is champions collaboration, innovation, and operational excellence. So, hi, Joel. How are you?
Hey, Alex. Yeah, great to join you here. Doing fantastic.
Great, perfect. So Joel, you're sitting in Down Under. I'm sitting here nearby Munich. So this is digitalization, right? So that's pretty nice. All right. Yeah. For the audience today, I think we want to do it quite interesting. We have several different parts in our presentation. First, we want to start with a little bit of interview style. So I have a couple of questions to Joel. Afterwards, I talk about our product, about GeoCloud Drive, give you some insights on this one. Then I will hand it over to Joel. He will talk about 12D Synergy. Of course, in the end, we will also tell you why we are here together. There is a reason behind it. We have a collaboration here also on the technical side. So we give you here some insights. And in the end, we also reserved a little bit time for looking to the future. So what will come in the next few months? Yeah, hope that is fine. Yeah, let's start a little bit with some questions, Joel. So you are the CEO, you're the co-founder of 12D Synergy. Can you tell us a little bit how you formed the company?
Yeah, so our story starts way back in 2011, over in the major earthquakes that devastated the city of Christchurch in New Zealand. So on that project, they were creating terabytes of geospatial information, and there were no real systems that could manage the wide data sources on that project. So that was really the genesis of 12D Synergy. And they had so much work to be redone. I think there were 10,000 homes lost, 424 kilometres of utilities, 50% of the roads in the region were totally destroyed. So before they could actually go around rebuilding the buildings, all the infrastructure had to be completely rebuilt. So over the next 5 years, the consortium SCIRT was built, to rebuild those utilities and infrastructure. And that's really the genesis of 12D Synergy. So we created a prototype for that project. And 3 years later, we commercialized and then started pushing, through Australia, New Zealand, and now also the world.
Very interesting. Can you give us a little bit more insights on the company?
Yeah, so over at 70 staff now. We've got offices based here, New Zealand, Manila, London, over in the US as well. So, we certainly have a global reach, and we're continuously developing new features for our customers.
Interesting. Well, when I listen to you, I think we have pretty much a good overlap also in the industries we try to tackle. Can you tell us a little bit more about the customers you're striving for?
Yeah, our customers are pretty much anyone in that, the construction space. So, thinking of the surveyors that are picking up the project, to concept planning designers, so the civil engineering consultants, also the clients that are overseeing those projects. So really everyone involved in the infrastructure creation process. Everyone probably up until about 10 to 15 staff, they probably do all right with tools like a Network Drive and Dropbox. But once you sort of get to that 15 mark, people they need to collaborate more. They really do need a common data environment like 12D Synergy. So fortunately, we've got quite a easy setup process, so for even those small customers can come on board and use our cloud-based environment very quickly. But we also scale up to the very large multinationals. So we have plenty multinational civil engineering consultants, contractors, and survey companies that are on board pushing data all around the world.
Interesting. Thanks a lot, Joel. We speak in a minute again. Let's go again a little bit back to the beginning. And, I'm from product management, and we always start a little bit with the problem. Otherwise, we don't think about ideas. We don't think about generating new products, services, software. There must be something where we have to generate value for the customers, right? And especially now in the construction industry, we see here really an industry problem. Basically, it's two problems, and they're both connected to each other. You see on the right side some statistics from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Basically, this data could be also taken from any other continent, could be also obtained from Europe or the US as well. You see here productivity numbers and how they developed in the last roughly 20 years, so from 2002 to 2023. And it's quite obvious many industry really made progress. They gained productivity, so especially the forestry, agriculture industry with even more than 90%, but also information, media, telecom. And what is really quite shocking when I saw those numbers is the construction industry. So we even have here in the last 20 years a decrease. So the construction industry really lags behind sectors like automotive, like mechanical engineering in really this digitalization, which is for sure one of the reasons why we have this bad productivity gains here. Why do you think it's so important to have a good productivity? It's when you think about especially the mature regions in Europe, in the US, we have everywhere, we have the problem to find skilled workers, right? It's hard to find them, and costs are really increasing. So the only way out of this dilemma is really to get more productive. So in order to have good margins, to scale the economy, we have to gain also productivity, and this is not happening, right? Now the question is, of course, why is this? And there are, of course, a couple of reasons behind it. One thing for sure is the missing or the very slow digitalization in this industry. We're really lagging behind. So this is basically the overall message here. The construction industry lags behind in adopting technology, relying on still very manual paper-based processes. And I have here a couple of points why we have this slow digitalization rate. Of course, there are even more, but I want to just touch a couple of them. And one is for sure, we have a quite fragmented ecosystem. So we have numerous stakeholders, we have subcontractors, we have legacy systems, which makes it really hard to speed up digitalization. On the other side, we have a low R&D spending in the construction industry. So there are statistics around that it's roughly 1% of the overall sum, compared to, for example, manufacturing, where we have 3 to 5%. But that is pretty low. There is not too much investments into software, into R&D in general, into services. Then we have customization of heavy projects. You can imagine those projects are very often unique. It's very hard. They're very hard. They're sometimes limited to reuse them. So this makes it also tough to replicate. We got cultural resistance. So often field crews prefer quite familiar manual processes. They have already over the years, it works. They feel secure with it. So they don't want to jump into new things. They don't want to try out new things. And the last one we mentioned here is the poor interoperability. We still see, especially in focusing on the construction industry, we still see disconnected tools. We still see here a lack of common data environments. Yeah, Joel, I wanna also hear your opinion a little bit to those topics here, and we address the surveyor in a first instance. So I wonder now, and that's also my feeling, that the surveyor plays more and more an important role in construction projects. So what do you think? How do you see the role of a surveyor in a construction project?
Yeah, I feel the role of the surveyor has never been more important, but it's certainly broadened rather than just someone out there with a total station taking measurements. It's really about becoming a data manager and really controlling all the data that's created, managed on site. So the reality is that they've never been more important, but they're often completely overlooked when they're choosing common data environments. This is really because a lot of the survey information, it is quite complex, it is quite large, and traditional CDEs haven't really worried about those data sets or their workflows. So yeah, when the digital engineering leads are talking about what CDEs they want, they pretty much forget that surveying isn't even a thing, and they adopt these CDEs without the surveys being included, which really results in the survey information no longer being managed, and it lives on a network drive.
Yeah, we speak all the time about CDEs, and there are a couple of CDEs available nowadays, and I really want to know, how does 12D Synergy, coming now back to 12D Synergy a little bit, how does 12D Synergy differs from other CDEs?
Yeah, I guess our real focus is the work in progress models. So there's a lot of other tools out there, as you mentioned, even just from Dropbox, OneDrive, they are technically, data management systems. We really worry about the engineering, surveying and construction information. So a lot of IT departments, when they're told about, we need something to manage our data, they just say, why don't you put everything in SharePoint? Now, SharePoint is fantastic. We use it internally for our Word documents, Excel and emails. So for those Office, file types, it's a great tool. But when you start looking at engineering files, so that's your CAD drawings, your geospatial information, and also all your survey data, it's never going to fit inside of SharePoint. So a lot of customers go, yep, let's try it all in SharePoint. Then they very quickly find it can't work, and all that data lives then again on a network drive. Then there are other tools such as HxGN, Innate, but they're really mainly focused on the deliverables. So it's those final contracts, the PDFs, the CAD drawings. And obviously this is an extremely important part of the process, and that's when the lawyers get involved at the end of it. In any disputes, it really comes back to those deliverables. But again, it doesn't really help you on the day-to-day data, which really is the backbone of a construction project. You then got other tools, specifically for the AEC space. So thinking like Bentley's ProjectWise or Autodesk Construction Cloud. They do actually a pretty good job of all the CAD drawings, but they don't do anything for survey information. So that's where we really differentiate ourselves, that we can do, all the CAD, the geospatial information and all the survey information in their workflows. That's sort of how we differentiate.
All right. Yeah. I think it's quite complex. The landscape is really big. I think that's sometimes really confusing. Also the surveyor, or in the end, the one who decides to find the right CDE. So ultimately, Joel, what do you think? So how does all this affect a surveyor, the surveyors in general?
Yeah, it's really difficult because the data sets keep getting bigger. LiDAR information, all these scanners are creating, billions of points. And there are no systems that can manage it. So it's a real problem for this space. The reality is a lot of these data sets live on network drives, on NAS drives. Data transfers mainly happen through memory sticks or then through emails. So pretty much the data, which is the most important data for the digitization of a construction project, a lot of it's completely unmanaged and hand-rounded on memory sticks. So you think of all the machine control and automation on a site, it's still mainly waiting for a surveyor to come up and provide a memory stick. So, the faster your survey team can move, all these, very expensive machines can be moving a lot faster. So really, the surveyor is the key piece of this puzzle to keep a project on time and on budget.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That's also what I see. And that's maybe also a good transition over to this next slide. That's basically the reason why we are here together in a call and why we can announce now, not only on sales side, but also on the technical side, this partnership, right? I think we have a lot of overlaps over here. But now it's time a little bit to give you the context, what we are doing at the moment together. You see on the left side, this is the icon of GeoCloud Drive. So this is our data service from Hexagon Geosystems. I got a little video over here, and you see already in the video with our product portfolio, mainly also on the hardware side now, with a level, with the total stations, with tablets we have. But you see all in the last couple of years, we absolutely invested into a modern, sophisticated field software portfolio. And of course, what should not miss here, and that was the focus in the last few years now, is really bringing those things together in terms of having a smooth data flow from the field over the air through the cloud into the office. That's also what this video is reflecting. So no matter what you're using, if you're on a construction site, if you're using Captivate on a CS20, or if you're using ICANN portfolio, or if you're using in the office what you see over here now with Infinity to process your data, it doesn't matter. It's all connected now with GeoCloud Drive. It brings the data together, right? And this is what I want to talk about in a minute now in the next couple of slides. So you might wonder, why do we do this partnership? But we from Hexagon Geosystems, for us, it's also clear, and this is also our strategy. We cannot live without strong partners. It doesn't matter if it's a local champion in various areas with a high market share, or if it's bigger players, also like 12 Geosynergy, that can give us here now more functionality, right? Where we can connect to each other in order to provide a lot of additional value to our customers. And you have seen already our customers are quite shared. They go in the same direction very much. So I don't want to touch now too much 12 Geosynergy, but what we have now in addition through this partnership is this work in progress model, drawing production. We got version control. We have possibilities to check in data, check out data. We have the audit trail. We see basically the different versions. We can loop back. We got office processing. What I really like is the ISO 19650 compliance. So very important, this ISO norm for in the construction industry for in relates to BIM, information exchange management. But that's all what Joel in a minute also, and he's talking about 12 Geosynergy, will talk about. So let me now in the next few slides talk about this left part, Hexagon Geosystems GeoCloud Drive. And I got here a flow chart, we call it a flow chart, that should summarize a little bit what GeoCloud Drive is all about on a very high level. So we have on the left side, we have our field software portfolio, and this was a couple of months ago. This part was pretty small, so we started with Captivate, our field software made really for the professional surveyor, but it has grown now. So basically what we can say now, all field software, every field software portfolio within Hexagon Geosystems is now connected to GeoCloud Drive, and it's really seamless connected. There is nothing you have to do in an extra app, whatever. It's really absolutely integrated. You can share data on the fly with 2 clicks, basically to the cloud. In the middle, we have GeoCloud Drive. I talk about this in a minute, hosted on AWS, a very secure system. We have different ways how you can utilize the cloud. We have a UI user interface in the web, so you can open up your browser. You have the different projects. You can assign your people to the projects. So you have full control over there. In addition, that is, I think, pretty cool. We have a little tool you can download free of charge. Once it's installed, it will link into your file system, into your file browser. The big benefit is every software you run on your PC, on a Windows 10, Windows 11 system, will be able then, without any additional integration effort, will be able to work with GeoCloud Drive, right? There is nothing you have to do. No SDK is needed, no API, nothing is needed. It works out of the box. As an example, on the right side, there is Infinity. Of course, install Infinity and you're ready to go, basically. What is also cool with this tool, we call it the desktop sync tool, as the name is already reflecting. It's synchronizing the content in the cloud with the content in your local file browser. Of course, only if you want. That is only one click, and whenever there is a new version in the cloud, it will be automatically updated also on your file system. I got now a little, very short video on Captivate, our field software, how GeoCloud Drive is integrated. We got here a bit line work, some points we measured here, a little project over here in Switzerland in Herbruck. We want to share it now to the cloud. Just flip the card, select upload to GeoCloud Drive, select the folder you want to have. It's super fast because it's super easy. press upload, and the data is already uploaded into the project you choose in the cloud. That's it, right? Super easy. The other way around, when we go to Infinity, we want to obtain this data now. We just uploaded. This is Infinity. We press on import. We select the location of the data you just uploaded in the cloud. It's also one click, takes just a second, of course, depending on the size of your data. And here we go. Basically, what you have seen just a minute ago in Captivate, in the field software, is now in Infinity. Of course, it works also the other way around. Well, coming now a little bit to the benefits. Why should a customer buy GeoCloud Drive? On the one side, of course, we have now an enhanced workflow efficiency that is super important. We have here a real-time or more or less real-time data transfer between the field and the office. So it really eliminates now the manual delivery of data. There is no need anymore to drive kilometers with your USB drive to deliver the data back into the office. Gives you also a little bit of freedom, right? When you're outside in the field and you have to do your staking, your layout, and you get the data, you can maybe even then share from the field the data within seconds to the office, to somebody from QA. It gives you thumbs up that everything is fine. There is no need to drive back to the office, and whenever there is a problem, you have to go back to the location again. This is all eliminated. Data security and reliability is super important, I can tell you. So a lot of customers are getting here very, very specific. They want to understand about algorithms, about decryption. And I can tell you, we are hosted on AWS. We have an advanced encryption technology. We have a data sheet you can find on our webpage. There is all the information on it that you might need. And we do regular penetration tests. So basically, there are companies around that try to hack you. Of course, they tell us when, and we do this on a regular base, not only from those customers. We also did just a couple of weeks ago with a customer in Germany. He also did a penetration test with us, all fine. So this is super important for us. Seamless collaboration. So it's not a FTP. It's not like an email like in the old days where you can only send data from A to B. It's a real collaboration service. So we have simultaneously access for multiple users. As said, everything is organized in projects. You as an administrator, so we have different roles as well. Depending on the role, you can assign people to the project. You can invite them. You have full control. You can hand out roles, and in the end, you can collaborate all together. I mentioned this as well here, cost-effective solution. We are quite competitive here compared also. What I want to mention here is when people come up and say, hey, I have my USB drive and it's basically free of charge. Also those USB drives, when you take the industry-grade memory devices, it's not free of charge. So it's quite comparable with in terms of pricing. Always think about the long-term savings. Also think about what happens when you have the old USB drives that are still used outside. What happens when you lose them? What happens when those are stolen? So I think that's in the long term, you can really save you a lot of costs. Compatibility and integration, that's our topic today with Joel, of course, with 12D Synergy. We got this SDK available. That's basically what 12D Synergy was doing. It's integrated. We are connected now. We come to this in a minute. Also, Joel will talk about this, how this works. It's fully integrated now into our various field softwares, as you have seen in the slide before. Different field software, no matter if it's Expert from Geomax, Icon Field, Captivate. So we have this smooth data flow with the Windows-based Office software that I was also talking about. And in the end, it's user-based, right? So it's quite flexible in terms of scaling it up. You can start small with only maybe 2 users. When you're growing your company, you can add additional users on it. And it's very easy to scale up or even down if needed. A little video now, I hope you hear it. It's all in Swiss German.
Mein Name ist Andreas Müller, ich bin Geschäftsführer von der RQL AG. Unsere Firma ist am 1. April 1965 hier in Gams gegründet worden. Wir sind ein klassisches Ingenieurbüro für Hoch- und Tiefbau. Wir bieten die klassischen Dienstleistungen an. Im Hochbau dann sind wir im Strassenbau sehr stark, auch im Bahnbau sind wir immer wieder tätig.
Ich bin der Janik Schmid, bin jetzt Vermessungsverantwortlicher, habe jetzt das Ganze ein bisschen neu aufgegleist. Wir haben jetzt mit der GeoCloud Drive hier ein neues Produkt entdeckt für uns, das unsere Anforderungen tiptop abdecken kann. Wir haben bis jetzt eigentlich immer die Daten, wenn wir es aufgenommen haben, auf den Stick abladen, sind nachher mit dem Stick ins Büro gefahren und haben die Daten dann nachher so wieder auf den PC hochgeladen. Neu mit der GeoCloud können wir die Daten, solange wir noch auf der Baustelle sind, direkt aufs Netzwerk hochladen, haben die dann live sofort im Büro, können die kontrollieren und können noch reagieren, solange unser Operator noch vor Ort ist, um dann zu sagen, nein, wir brauchen noch etwas mehr oder ist in Ordnung, kannst du zusammenpacken. Zeitersparnis haben wir vor allem wir können den Weg einsparen zurück ins Büro. Wir haben sofort Kontrolle vor Ort. Das ist eine riesige Zeitersparnis für uns. Wenn der Projektleiter auf der Baustelle ist, hat die Baustellensitzung, kann er mit dem Gerät die Punkte, die wir brauchen, aufnehmen, die Sachen schnell anschauen vor Ort, hat alle Daten dann gerade schon hochgeladen und bis der Projektleiter zurück im Büro ist, können wir die Daten nachher gerade schon anschauen oder je nachdem hat es der Zeichner gerade schon bearbeitet und kontrolliert. Wir haben aber sehr viel der Fall, dass der Unternehmer auf der Baustelle die Daten dann verwendet auf ihren Gerät. Da wäre sicher in Zukunft der Schritt natürlich genial, wenn wir die Daten auf die GeoCloud hochladen und der Unternehmer sie dann direkt abladen kann, dass er auf seinem Gerät die Daten aktuell gerade immer hat. Weil, wie es halt überall ist, man hat wieder Anpassungen, man hat Änderungen, man hat eine neue Datei, die man hochlädt und der Unternehmer hat dann gerade aktuell die Daten wieder für sich parat.
All right. Yeah, so this was a video with a bit some local flavor in Switzerland. But I think the use cases are clear and they can be replicated, or they are replicated all over the place, right? No matter if it's in Switzerland or in Australia or somewhere else. Yeah, my last slide before I hand over to Joel. This is also the slide a little bit to the transition over to 12D Synergy is, and I want to repeat here the term of the working cloud. So that's how we call it internally. So GeoCloud Drive, basically to connect our field software portfolio with all the sensors. In addition, the office software portfolio all together, that we have a cloud service where we bring the data together. That is key. But as said, the strategy is really to partner up with others as well. And 12D Synergy for us has priority. It's a very important player because of the functions Joel will speak over in a minute. So it's super important. And I'm very happy that we have here with 12D Synergy the first player in where we connect to each other. Next thing, we can give already a little bit of teaser. We are in touch also with Autodesk Construction Cloud, that we have here a connection. And in between, you see already in the circle, we have the working cloud GeoCloud Drive with app, with desktop app, with SDK that is available here. All right. But that was a little snippet, a little part of GeoCloud Drive. Of course, more information can be found on the homepage. I hand over now to Joel, and we cover now 12D Synergy.
Thank you, Alex. So to start, what is 12D Synergy? Well, it's a common data environment, which is really just an ISO fancy term for document management system. So one of the key things we talk about is being completely data agnostic, which means you can put most software packages in the solution and it'll work completely out of the box. And this includes tricky file formats and software packages like Leica Infinity, which normally has lots of folders and files. You know, it could be thousands of different combinations there, really a database of folder structure. We can manage all that. We also integrate with the other Leica tools, Icon, Captivate, and of course, GeoCloud and ConX. So by using 12D Synergy, you're really making sure that you're always working off the latest information so that no matter what, you're not working on outdated information, whether that's a CAD drawing or a live survey piece of information. So when you create a job inside of 12D Synergy, it could actually be created in a accounting package. That information is pushed into 12D Synergy, and then the folder structure is actually created automatically to your requirements. That also enforces your naming rules and conventions, and also your attribute information, both at the job, folder, and file level as well. Now, everything in Synergy is completely version controlled, so every time you check in and check out a file, it'll have the full history there So you can look back in time and see who did what, when, and why. So you've got that automatically. It just happens in the background. You don't have to do anything additional. Now, all the data is stored centrally. You've got two options. Most people these days are on the cloud, but for some projects and defense projects, and some countries around the world still prefer on-prem, we manage both of those servers. But for most clients, all that data is sitting in our cloud environment that sits on Microsoft Azure. And that really makes sure that, if a laptop dies or say a subcontractor leaves the organization, all that data is centrally located. You've got everything there and it's completely backed up. So yeah, the data is never lost. Also, the data can be seamlessly transferred between users in a controlled way. So this means no more memory sticks, emails, and just unmanaged information. So you're no longer sending people, Dropbox links. 12D Synergy, we have a publishing feature. So yeah, you can send data and even very large data sets through the web, an HTTPS link, or you can also receive information that way from other people, because that's also normally a challenge as well when you've got 100 megabytes or a gigabyte. How do I actually receive this information? So with 12D Synergy and GeoCloud, you can always access your survey information in the field. No need to come back to the office. No need to be using those memory sticks. So there's really 4 key pillars to 12D Synergy that'll help your business. First of all is our correspondence management, and that's looking at all the information that's coming in and out of your organization, including those external stakeholders. We then have information management, and this is your Word, your Excel, your PDFs, also a BIM viewer, there's issue tracking, and lots of project information tools as well to make sure that you're working on the right information at the right time. We've then got the geospatial data sets, and this is really the technical information that really sets us apart. And a lot of these data sets are just in the too hard basket for the average common data environments. So we're thinking of Leica Infinity, Triple Business Center, TrueFlow, 12D Model, XP Swim, and also GIS tools like ArcGIS and QGIS. So they're really database of information, and for all the surveyors in the room, we're certainly all the complex data sets that you're looking at from a work in progress can fit inside of 12D Synergy. And then finally, we've got the drawing and model production. So really, 12D Synergy is a technician's best friend. We look after all the drawings, we make sure all the title blocks and attributes can be pushed into those title blocks automatically. The other advantage is it doesn't matter whether you're using AutoCAD, Civil 3D, MicroStation or BricsCAD, we manage all those CAD packages out of the box. Now, when all your survey data is located inside of 12D Synergy's single source of truth, you're able to leverage some of our geospatial tools. So 12D Synergy has a BIM viewer, so that any users can view all those models in full 3D. Now, this means the surveyor doesn't need to spend time sharing models with engineers that are constantly asking for information. Those stakeholders can simply, you can send them a link and they can open up Synergy and they can actually view the models, and it's a very easy interface. So it's also good because it's read-only. The engineers can't go in there and break the data, so that's also useful. So this is a great way for viewing a model without needing to actually open a separate authoring tool. It's all done through 12D Synergy or through a browser. Now, information regarding any objects, attributes included in the model are displayed in the viewer on the side there. So you can do also standard measures, cutting planes, and other associated tasks as well. No problem. The BIM viewer also supports model federation. So you can bring in lots of different IFCs from different data sources and view them very easily. And really, the BIM viewer is a great way of communicating information for non-technical stakeholders that drawings might not make much sense to them. We also provide free collaborator licenses, which allows you to share an HTTP link with external stakeholders. They can view those BIM models through a browser at no additional fee, which is fantastic. Now, service clashes are also a major problem on construction projects. In the USA alone, there's about 500,000 service clashes every year, costing in excess of $10,000 US per strike. And I know in Australia, if you hit a major fibre optic cable, the cost is well into the millions. So the management of services and avoiding clashes in both the design and construction phase is critical. Now, 12D Synergy can run clashes on both hard and soft clashes if you add a tolerance, and you can download a full report of the clashes as well and see all those visual clashes on the screen. We've then got an issue tracker, and that's really critical workflow for the construction projects. Issues can be created visually from the model, and all correspondence on each issue is tracked from 12D Synergy itself. Now, those issues can be attached to individual projects, documents, or files, or even just directly from the BIM viewer, which we showed before. So there's a real benefit of having all those issues tracked and managed within the software, which hosts all your survey information and associated documentation. So we can see there just the issue tracking straight from the BIM viewer. We also have the spatial search. Now, this is for survey businesses or asset owners, and it's usually very difficult to know what survey information your organisation actually retains. And probably everyone in the industry knows of surveys that have been commissioned because the original survey couldn't be found, or the fact that no one actually knows the survey was ever done. So that's where the original data sets, they could reside on a network drive, but traditionally it's quite hard to find. Or perhaps it lives on someone's C drive or a portable drive hidden away in someone's drawer. So there's a huge benefit in knowing what all the data that you have and being able to show them centrally on a map and do a spatial search. So it's easy to find areas and survey information that are close in a geographic search. Or you could also search by a job number. Now, the construction industry is awash with hundreds of different forms. Many sites still use paper safety forms, and many of these are in a drawer somewhere. Often different bespoke form tools are used within the organisation, or different projects have different information. But these become separate silos of information in their own right. So our forms platform is extremely flexible, so you can easily tailor it to see what you're seeing here with a SWIMS form or safe work method safety form. So we've also got an example here of a survey request form, and this is another popular one with our users, and they can be generated from a QR code. Now, many surveyors are now adding this to the end of their email signature, and the end users, who don't need to be 12D Synergy users at all, can generate a form directly from their phone using that QR code. So staff don't need to be users to fill out the form, so it really opens up a range of different stakeholders that can benefit from this capability. So yeah, a very, very handy feature there for all construction projects. So probably not everyone is across ISO 19650, but it's a global framework aimed at standardizing the way we manage information. Now, across Europe, Middle East and Australasia, ISO 19650 has become a requirement for all large infrastructure Tier 1 projects. And the USA is also a signatory to the standard, so likely they will be adopting it in the future. Now, 12D Synergy is ISO 19650 compliant, but more importantly, if you're trying to get ISO compliant, that's critical, but there's also a workflow engine that enables a lot of automation of tasks and approval gates to ensure that only approved data sets will be available for construction. Now, similarly, if you're just looking to get ISO 9001 certified, 12D Synergy is also a great tool to help. So I've already mentioned the term data agnostic several times. Now, this slide shows some of the industry software that integrates seamlessly with 12D Synergy out of the box. So you can see here all our generic tools of Word, Excel, PDFs, PowerPoint, but then any of the design tools. So it really doesn't matter what you're using on a project. I mentioned all the different CAD packages and also all the survey, the Leica fleet with Captivate, Icon and Infinity, also LizCAD, Neo, and also all the water tools. Now, the benefit of being vendor agnostic is that you can really pick and choose which product you need on any one site. I know different road authorities have different requirements. So Civil 3D might be a requirement in one space, where the open roads and microstation combination might be in another state. So having this one tool which allows you to use the best product for the right project, or potentially you're limited by the users in your organization. So a vendor agnostic tool, you're not being pushed into one vendor's ecosystem. You're really open, and that gives you a lot of flexibility in your software choices so that, you can grow, as your business grows, you have more choice in the software that you choose. So anyone that's used Leica Infinity will know that the project is made up of folders of files, and there are thousands of files within that. And that's really impossible to manage with any other CDE. But fortunately, 12D Synergy has got this managed folder, which really allows you to check out not just a single file like most CDEs, but a whole folder or folder of files. So all of that gets copied onto your local workspace, which also means, you can be working locally, which means all these geospatial applications run much, much faster because you're running off the local workspace rather than constantly dragging information across the network. The other advantage there too is that you're no longer pushing those large data sets across the network. So the entire LAN, the speeds can be improved for everyone else in the organization because these surveyors aren't moving these massive data sets across the network. Also, when you're working off your local drive, there's a lot less chance of data corruption with projects, particularly with CAD, which is known very much to be constantly crashing and corrupting. A lot of that is due to latency across the network. So working off your local C drive is certainly a lovely advantage with 12D Synergy. You can also, using products like Infinity, you can access 12D Synergy directly from the ribbon. So you can do check-in and checkouts without even actually opening up the 12D Synergy client. So it really means that, surveyors can just, work in an environment that they're used to, which really helps on the change management process. Now, the whole theme here is about having systems that are interconnected, and that's why we're here in our partnership with Hexagon and the GeoCloud product. But that's not just the only system that we integrate with as well. So we talk about a single truth for all your data, but the reality is in most large construction projects, there's a wide range of CDEs being used for a variety of other reasons. So you might have a ConX or an 8 for your deliverables. You might have other CDEs like ProjectWise, maybe Autodesk Construction Cloud for your Revit data, and that's okay. The reality is now that you're going to have an ecosystem of interconnected CDEs, and the idea is that data should push from one system to the other seamlessly. And it's not just about moving the files across, it's also about the associated attributes or metadata that's pushed as well. So 12D Synergy has quite a few different methods to move data from one CDE to the other seamlessly. So again, it gives you that flexibility of choice that you can use the right CDE on the right project. So what about 12D Synergy and GeoCloud? Well, these projects work together to ensure you're always working on the correct information and ties into the wider project delivery team to process. 12D Synergy looks after the data preparation, the versions, suitability codes and revisions, as well as office processing in Leica Infinity, 12D Model, BricsCAD and other packages like Civil 3D. From here, workflows ensure that the correct process is followed before being used out into the field. Now, this is just a basic example of the workflow that can be customized to any project's requirements. So it just gives you a feel of what our products would look together, pushing data one to the other. Now, in this example, once a design reference is approved for setup, the workflow will move the file from GeoCloud in, and in this case, out to an instrument in the field. For this example, a controller running Captivate. Now, once you open up your controller in the field, or in this case, in the Total Stations onboard interface, you can navigate to the cloud services and download the data from GeoCloud, which originated in 12D Synergy. So this is a two-way integration, so data can be returned from the office, from your instrument to 12D Synergy to GeoCloud. Now, 12D Synergy and GeoCloud are continuously communicating and sync-approved files between the platforms. So GeoCloud really is your gateway to assigning data to individual instruments and users in the field. Now, 12D Synergy is the platform that controls that data and reviews field submissions back into the office for processing. Now, similarly, 12D Synergy moves information from GeoCloud to provide the information required by data managers located in the office. So 12D Synergy and GeoCloud are communicating to ensure that you have the correct information at the right time. Now, for users of ConX, we provide similar functionality where files are synced across with the required metadata fields and are pointing the information to specific machines. We also send it to the users and they're allocated from 12D Synergy. So look, these integrations are beneficial because it improves the QA from office to field and field to office. And part of the British that have coined the golden thread of information. And as for efficiency and safety, this means no more surveyors jumping in and transferring data on memory sticks or emails, or in the case of ConX, jumping in and out of cabs, providing data to machines on site. And yeah, with that, Alex, I can hand it back to you.
Good. All right, Joel, that was great. Many thanks. So I take up again a little bit for a recap. And also we both want to look a bit to the future, what comes in the next couple of months, right? So maybe to recap a little bit this idea of this combination of 12D Synergy and GeoCloud Drive. The big benefit is, of course, now that with GeoCloud Drive, we connect our own ecosystem within Hexagon Geosystems, right? The field software. It can be different field software like Captivate, like iCanField, like XPAD, also ground penetrating software, cable locator software. And from there, basically, when we connect all those things, we go centrally from the cloud into the other ecosystems like 12D Synergy in order to provide additional functionality. The big benefit is, of course, for our partners, they don't have to integrate now in all those field software packages individually through SDKs, APIs. Basically, they integrate into our cloud. And here we have a cloud-to-cloud synchronization. That's a big benefit for the customer, of course, but also for our partners. So let me move over now a little bit to the future. And I made here the headline, "The future is bright." I want to tease a little bit what we are striving for in the future. On the one side, we come in the next weeks for GeoCloud Drive with the new functionality of the external users. So now you can also invite people from other organizations. At the moment, you can only collaborate within your own organization that are assigned to the same account. In the future, you can simply address it with an email address. They get an email notification and you can start collaborating. That is one thing. And what I want to touch now, where I want to give you a little bit of snippet and a little bit of understanding in what direction we go for. That's something we did on the Hexagon Live just a few months ago in Las Vegas. And to show you what we are doing, I first want to explain you a little bit how the technology works on a higher level. So we got on the one side a technology platform within Hexagon. It's called HxDR. So you can think about it like a toolbox with a lot of technology, with tools you can grab out and build around your own service. And you see on the right side, there are different services now manufactured in the last couple of months and years. You see on top, this is GeoCloud Drive, where we address in the main instance, the classic surveying with TPS, with GNSS, with levels. But we are not addressing point clouds. We are not addressing basically the reality capture customers. Therefore, there is a different service. It's called Reality Cloud Studio with additional functionality. And there are also other services. And I thought, when we talk about our industry, about our customers, we have a lot of overlaps over there, right? And I want to dissolve a little bit here the boundaries, especially between our geomatic customers with GPS, with TPS, and the customers with scanners for generating point clouds. And we did this little example here, and I want to show you this video. We showed it on the Hexagon Live. It's the service for scanners, Reality Cloud Studio, at the moment only made for point clouds. And we started now to work on it, and we have here also the chance now in this little showcase to import data from GPS and GNSS. So you see it you see this line work in white, with some attributes on it, some coding on it. We have in the 3D data view also the point clouds generated with terrestrial laser scanners. In addition, again, we have done here some TPS measurements. We also added into the 3D data viewer all in the same coordinate system. And of course, you can be creative. You can also add now here additional data sets like IFC files, like this building, for example. So I think this gives maybe the next step in a nice 3D data viewer integrating a lot of different data from different sources. And that was a little bit a teaser, a little bit an example. It's not a product. It's something we might strive in the future, but that's also what I wanted to show here in this webinar today. Yeah, that's already from my side. Many thanks for listening. I will hand over quickly also to Joel to see what is coming for 12 Synergy. Then we can close the session.
Mate, I just want to wrap things up really just saying that 12 Synergy and GeoCloud partnership really ensure that teams have the right access to information at the right time. So no longer working on outdated information. You're no longer sending data through email or memory sticks. It is a nice controlled process with a full audit trail for your survey information. So it really is about working on the correct versions, ensuring the quality of the data and the quality assured outcomes as well for both you and your clients. So thanks very much for having me on today, Alex. It's always great working with you and the Leica and Hexagon teams.
Thank you, Joel. Many thanks for joining. Great for all your answers you gave for my little interview and for your presentation. I think it fits very well together. I really appreciate our partnership, and I'm very happy also to do the next steps here. So many thanks for everybody to join today, and have a good one. Bye.